Welcome back to Studio F on Fast Times with Willy B. We'll be celebrating National Gingersnap Day by reviewing Ginger Snaps. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Russell!
Welcome back to Fast Times with Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Mo back. Mo, how are we doing today?
Doing amazing. How are you?
Doing well. National Gingersnap Day.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this as soon as you told me. Had an idea. Been ready for this.
This is a big holiday. We should have work off for this day.
I agree.
National Gingersnap Day, like...
Everyone, go home, get some ginger snaps, and watch Ginger Snaps.
Which we will be reviewing today. So Ginger Snaps, 2000. This is obviously more of a spooky season film, but it was still fun watching it here in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Gotta have that little vibe change up, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those ones where, some horror titles that they have a year-round kind of thing that you can watch. Yeah. And I feel like this definitely falls into it. Is it talked about as much? Absolutely not. But it still, I think, is in that ballpark of,
for sure,
regardless of the time of year that you watch it, it is going to... Yeah, you're going to have a great time watching it, and with the entire franchise, too. Yeah.
So, directed by John Fawcett, Canadian director. I didn't really recognize any of his other filmography, but this is one of 8 movies he's directed. Catherine Isabelle is our star, Ginger Fitzgerald, and she, in fact, snaps. We have Emily Perkins, who plays the sister, Bridget. And then the other notable character would be Chris Lemche, and he plays Sam, who is our, helper,
kind of like
dealer.
aid. Yeah.
Kind of just that supporting character that's there when you need him. But let's start with the good. And I know for both of us there's a lot of good. And for a lot of people, I know that we have friends in the friend group that feel other ways about this movie. We won't name any names. But... it seems like a lot of people enjoy this, and I think a big reason why is it has a great aesthetic.
Yeah.
So I talked about how, it's a fall movie, it's spooky season, you can really enjoy it any time of year. It captures the season of fall perfectly.
It honestly agreed that, it takes place during Halloween, and it fits it so well, and especially with the entire, aesthetic and design of the sisters as well, and kind of the town, how they're just, there's the beast... going on through towns, killing all these dogs. Yeah. It just all flows so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes place primarily in this neighborhood, and then obviously in school and such. But, you've got the fall leaves, everybody's wearing, they're bundled up because it's a cold day. The movie opens up with the mom raking leaves as the son's bundled up in the sandbox, and speaking of which is an insane opening scene.
Yeah.
Where she finds the son's playing with the dog's paw, and... what was his name?
It was Baxter.
Baxter.
Because she just holds him.
Baxter.
He's just going out and screaming at these kids playing in the middle of the street. What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
So Baxter's gone. That's how this movie opens. But even then, that opening scene really immerses you into the fall season really well, and the entire movie just carries it along with it.
Yeah, and that scene kind of gives you more of immediately off the jump of how drastic this situation is off the bat. It's not ones where it goes from rumors to suspicious killings of dogs or anything like that. It's from the jump. This is what we're dealing with. It's going to be the talk of the town during the movie, and that's what I like a lot.
What was the city? It's Bailey Downs.
Yeah, Bailey Downs, the Beast of
Bailey Downs. And that's what they say. The Beast of Bailey Downs got another dog. It's such. It rolls off the tongue so well. Mm-hmm. But that's when you get, the garage door open. That's where we're introduced to Bridget's character, and the neighbor's dog's barking while this lady's screaming bloody murder about her dog just getting murdered. And I love this scene because I have a dog named Norman. Obviously,
Yeah.
But
the neighbor's
dog is Norman, and Bridget goes, "Shut up, Norman."
Also,
Norman was watching this with me today. Locked in.
Really?
Locked in. I have a video, dude, where I was calling his name, wouldn't break his eyesight. So Norman heard his name and was
he was focused.
He was in.
I want to talk about that kid. Why is he only wearing, hockey gear? The entire movie. Yeah, the entire movie. At first, when we first see Norman, you see he's hanging off of his stick, and he's, laughing about it first, and then going, "Get off, Norman!"
Yeah.
And then we see him, I think, a handful of times throughout the movie, and he's always wearing hockey gear.
Yeah.
Even when he goes to take the bowl of food for Norman outside, he is wearing helmet, pads, everything. Why are you a cartoon character?
Bailey Downs is the city of hockey, apparently.
Yeah.
Field hockey, because they're even playing it at school.
Yeah.
But no, that opening scene, it really catches you, it grabs you, and it just goes into, the vibe and the aesthetic, how you feel like you're immersed into the fall season the entire hour and 40 minutes of this movie. I really like the creature design.
The creature, so good, and the fact that with the budget this movie had, and with how early it is, you wouldn't think that, like, for Ginger's, like, transformation, it would look that good.
Yeah.
It didn't look cheesy, it didn't look, like, awful, or, like, too plasticky, almost. It looked super good for what they were given.
No, the practical effects were awesome. I mean, from them making their death project, all of that was done really well, to, them being attacked by which is another great scene, when the first attack happens, when Ginger is bitten. Yeah. But yes, I mean, all the way along the transformation, whether it's her just having the nails and the teeth, or when she has the tail, that's really well done.
That's what I was going to bring up, is that it's so good.
The full transformed werewolf is good too, and I get it. It's not... some knock on it because there's not a lot of hair, and I get it, like, werewolf lycanthrope, you get you have the hair. It's a hairy monster. But I almost like the hairless dog look, and it's not my favorite in all of cinema of all time, but I think they did a really good job making a unique look, and I love the creature design in this movie.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a unique look, and they were questioning about, like, the hair, but, like, if you look at scenes, there is hair. Yeah. It's just not as much as everybody wants. Yeah. Because when she's going through the transformation, the cuts all over, she's just covered in hair. Yeah. And that's one of her bigger problems, and especially the transformation. That's what I really liked, is we saw a progression of the transformation. Yeah. And coming back to that opening scene, I kind of felt this way about it, is that, like, even though it's Gingersnaps, it's about Ginger primarily in her transformation, us going to Bridget at first, it kind of felt more that, like, Bridget's the main character. Yeah, this is Bridget's the main character. And
you could argue that she is.
Yeah, every time, because, I mean, she's the one who kind of, like, takes the steering wheel of the whole situation. Ginger, of course, being influenced by the bite, by everything. Yeah. She, like, was just going to go through with it. She wasn't even trying to stop it. As for Bridget, she sourced out to Sam of trying to, like, stop this. He pieced it together, of course, and helps in the end when they have the whole big showdown in the house. Yeah. And Bridget's character development throughout the entire movie, so good.
I like all of our characters in this movie. Well, not all of them, but the main three, I think, were really well-written characters. I think they develop well. I think they're fun to cheer for, follow, all of that. From Sam to Bridget to even Ginger, who almost plays, the villain role in this movie. Yeah. But something to mention, too, on the creature design and, being hairless and stuff, too. This movie obviously plays hand-in-hand in almost saying, like, the menstrual cycle and you getting your period almost feels like, you're new. You're going through this transformation in life, like a transformation of a werewolf. The menstrual cycle lines up with the full moon in this movie, and instead of her, having her period, it's her turning into a wolf, and maybe she's hairless because she's fresh in this transformation. Like, there's so many ways you could argue with it, rebirth. But obviously I can't speak for a woman and how much this connects with that. But from what I've seen in reviews and from other YouTubers and reviews from people on Letterboxd, is that they do a really good job in, using the transformation of a werewolf and a lycanthrope as a metaphor for, a woman becoming a woman, or a girl becoming a woman and experience menstrual cycle. And I think that's another thing. Obviously, like, it's tougher for us to connect at that level because we don't experience that. Yeah. But, knowing that that's an undertone, a theme of this movie, and that, from what I've seen, they did very well. It's just another thing you got to throw in the good.
Yeah, it was really incorporated well. And, like, just with those as well, the messages of the entire movie, the flow, the pacing, everything of it, so good. Yeah. It meshes well. Like how I was telling you
earlier.
Quick
hour and 40.
That, because when I first, like, started up last night, it had been a long time since I'd seen the movie. Yeah. And I thought, an hour and 40, 5 minutes, oh my God, this is going to be a long night. But all I did was just, like, sit there, watch it, and then by the time the credits started rolling, I was like, it's done? Yeah. Already? Yeah. Like, there wasn't no awkward hiccup or slow patch, nothing.
Yeah. I love the story. I mean, from, you said it, with the character development, these sisters being inseparable, to one kind of is being possessed at this point by this creature bite that she can't really control. And so for the first time, the sister's on her own and has to use the help from somebody else. She even goes to her mom for a scene, even though they're obviously rebel children, and her fighting her urges, but she saw me that I killed this person, so I have to kill him. And it's just it's a roller coaster ride, but it's all so good. I think it's a great watch. This was my second time watching it ever. And, I got this shirt after one watch, so that tells you how much I enjoyed this movie. But this was my second watch ever, and after I watched it last fall for the first time, I was like, that's instantly a staple for the fall. I watch that movie every fall. Watching today, I was like, man, it might not, like you said, it might not need to be fall. It could be Valentine's Day, and I could throw on Gingersnaps.
Because funny enough, how it's summer now, and we're watching it. The first time I watched this movie was overseas during the summer with my cousins. We're all in just big living room area. We're watching it on a bootleg DVD.
Nice.
And half of them are just this is gross. I don't want to watch it. Either saying that after, or they're leaving midway. As for me, I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Can we go back and see if there's the other movies?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, for $1, got the rest of the franchise, and I'm just sitting there watching this. I was like, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. When can I have the living room TV to, finish up the rest?
For sure. More good, the kills. All of them. I mean, and that goes back to the practical effects too, whether it's the slashes across the neck or the chest or the head when she kills the guidance counselor, when she kills the janitor. Trina's kill, I think, obviously they didn't do it. It was an accident, but it was still how it happened was intense. That's a tense moment, that Trina kitchen scene. And then the ending. I mean, the werewolf leaving Sam alive to see if Bridget's transformed, and then when Bridget throws up, the werewolf's like, oh, she's not with me yet, instantly kills her. It was just so good, and I mean, the practical effects, the kills, and the story all play hand in hand together in making, a good recipe.
Yeah, and one thing I want to touch about, kind of on the kills, but also a character, the mom, Pam, how wild when she first found out about it and then collected the girls, and when Bridget's like, yeah, we did it, are you mad? And she's like, no, we're just gonna go back home, burn everything, and then go start a new life. When she was like, what about Dad? Avoided it. Yeah. Avoided entirely.
Or counseling. Maybe she's like, I got a fresh start too.
Yeah. But the killings were really good. I did absolutely love that. I would say one that kind of, if anything, I wish they would have shown maybe more of when it finally happened was the janitor's kill. Because it was a brutal beatdown through that hallway. But from what obviously you can tell is that, when she does kill him, she's digging her claws into his stomach and probably pulling out, his guts. So I was like, I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Yeah, there's not a lot on screen. Sam, when she bites Sam's neck and finishes him off, that's on screen.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's off screen, but the aftermath is done really well.
It's very good. And I kind of like their quick thinking of the Trina kill, where it was the garage door is literally opening right now. What are we going to do? And the fact that they acted so quick to just have Ginger lie there and then pretend it's one of their, pictures, but at the same time, what a twisted scene is that she's laying there in Trina's blood, and then licking it, and then telling her dad.
Yeah. I mean, that's just going to show, the what comes with being a werewolf.
What her mental state is at.
Yeah. That attack scene, I've got to go back to that. I really like the attack scene where we get our first run-in with a werewolf, and just the way it's shot and how tense it is, and, her being dragged through the woods, Bridget following along, all the way to where they finally get away, and that's when Sam's truck or van completely implodes the wolf. But that first attack scene, it has you on the edge of your seat.
And I would say how it was shot as well. That's kind of a good that I wanted to bring up. The cinematography.
Yeah.
The shots throughout the entire movie. The angling, the lighting of all that stuff.
Yep.
It was so good and matched every scene perfectly well. Especially with the chase down in the house, the kills, and all of that. It just flowed so perfect where I was like, I can't argue anything.
Exactly.
Only thing I said is would have maybe wanted to see the guts from the janitor kill, but that's
Yeah.
But that's on them, and in terms of the other shots, all of it's shot beautifully.
For sure.
Especially the dark shadows within the house as Bridget's just trying to manage her way to find Ginger, and like where Sam had went after he had got pulled out.
That is awesome too when he's pulled out of that pantry. Mm-hmm. That's a really cool scene too.
It did scare me. Since it was a while that I watched it, it did give me a little jump.
Scare.
Yeah, when he was pulled out of it, and then I was like, okay, now you gotta go find it. And then he's just being bashed against the pantry door. I was like, he's already dead.
Insanity. Did you have anything else you'd like to add to good? That we didn't already touch on.
Really like the music. Soundtrack?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was really good. I mean, I love movie soundtracks, so I'm always gonna pay attention to that. I really did like the soundtrack.
The song when she decides to doll up and walks through the hallway.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. It's just like... Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say kind of the scene of Ginger's transformation in the back of the van really did like that because, like, it didn't just stay on her the entire time, but every time it did go back, they were using just the street light, like the street lights, everyone that they passed as the lighting for it. There wasn't any artificial lighting or anything. It's, okay, we're passing street light, here's what she looks at that moment.
Yeah.
Here's another, that's what she looks like, and it was drastically different each time. Yeah. And kind of like you could tell the pain that she was like going through while in that transformation.
Yeah. The last thing I'll throw in the good is Catherine Isabel and Emily Perkins. I thought that for the most part their acting was really well, and this will segue me to the meh, which we'll hop into right now. And some of the acting is in the meh, especially with the supporting characters.
Yeah.
You can tell. There's a budgetary constraint when it comes to the acting at moments. Some of the dialogue can be cheesy too. I guess you could throw that in the meh if you really want to, but a lot of the dialogue and writing is really good, so it's hard to not put it in the good. But the acting at moments can be tough. And even, Catherine Isabel and Emily Perkins have their moments where you're like, well, that wasn't super convincing. But for the most part, those two shined. But overall in the movie, the acting was probably, all right. Decent.
Especially like you said, like those supporting characters, like honestly, if you would have just said Pam was a single mom, that would have made it better.
Yeah,
instead of her dad just going
pointless.
Yeah, the entire time he's just crying or either not participating. Like
you're having a lot of help, and then it cuts to him, doesn't say a word.
Yeah, he's just eating his dinner, and it's like, why are you here? Yeah. You're just paid to just be here and occupy this space. A job I want, just to occupy space.
You just
and
want to marry the mom.
What? No. But, and one character that I honestly think, which I don't know how you'll feel about it, I didn't mention it, felt like was pointless. I kind of thought it was Trina at first, but now looking back on it, Jason. Jason was not needed. All he was kind of like, just, kind of like a friends with benefits, and then he kind of contracts like the curse a bit, and then it's short-lived.
My thing with that is that gives, I guess, maybe the guys a little bit to relate to in the sense that like you get the taste for it and you want more. Like, that sounds really bad when you say it like that, but like in the sense that like, that first time you have that kiss, or you go a little further with a girl, you're like, oh, I can't wait till next time. You know what I mean? Like, just the hormones and being a teenager, that teenage angst. And the other thing I would say with that too is it gives us a little more of a push in the development of Ginger's character, in the sense that when she's done and she ends up killing Norman and she comes home, she was like, I have these feelings, and I thought they were just sex, but I want to tear everything apart. And I think that's such a powerful line, one. But, I mean, a line we don't get unless his character's there.
Yeah.
And that's my only argument, that he, although it be a minor role, plays a role in this film.
To me, along with that, I think the only kind of significant thing he provided was bridging the connection for Bridget and Sam. Because,
that's true too.
Because, they're all in the back of his van.
He's the one
smoking
that gets them
weed, and she's just sitting there like outside, and if it wasn't the whole confrontation of don't use my van to smoke here, the Polaroid would have never fell out, and then for him to track her down. Now I would probably appreciate his character a bit more if like he was the boy that Trina and like Bridget were fighting about, but he wasn't. So that's why it kind of felt like you didn't need to be here, but
he's
like
also the first test dummy of the
Yeah. Oh, of the antidote. Yeah. Which, that's kind of a meh thing for me, is when they go through the books, Bridget and Sam, they go through the book and they're just like, it's not growing in season and it's tough to. And then she finds it on her kitchen table and is like, where'd you find these? The craft store.
Which isn't out of the realm of possibility, but I get it. It's a stretch.
Yeah, sure. I just thought, like, are you kidding me? Joanne's has this?
Joanne's has this. Hobby Lobby.
Exactly.
It's carrying the werewolf antidote.
Oh, my sister's a werewolf. Need to go to Michael's real quick.
Like, I get it as a little bit of a stretch, but I think, like, how else do you go about it? I think that's the best way to introduce it.
I guess so. I would have...
Because you're making a movie in the fall. You can't really... You're not going to wait until the spring season.
Or maybe I thought they were just going to go to, like, another greenhouse. That
maybe,
they, like,
that makes
have
sense.
it. Or, like, something. But I just didn't think that, like, Pam was going to come in clutch with the craft store purchase.
Hey, that's what Wonder Mom's for, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
Coming in clutch. That's the name of the game for a mom, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Pam was clutch. Pam's a good mom.
She is, honestly. Like I said, still wild with the whole wanting to burn everything and leave.
Yeah.
But, like, no other mom's gonna be like that.
Yeah.
Or, like, no one else other than your mom is gonna be like, let's just ditch it. Let's just ditch it all, go start a new life for us.
Hop over to Bailey Ups.
There's no beast there.
There's no beast. But her daughter's the beast, so there won't be a beast there. But, is there anything else you have for the bad? I don't have anything for the bad, personally. I think that there are flaws. There are things you could nitpick, especially when it comes to the acting. I think umbrellaing, I don't even know if that's a word, but just putting an umbrella over acting in the meh kind of covers some of the nitpick things you can talk about. And I do like to exclude Perkins and Isabel from that because I do like their performances in this. I think it's Isabel's best of her career. Probably Perkins, too. I haven't seen much with Perkins in it. I think this is the only movie I've seen with her in it.
What, with Perkins?
With
Bridget?
Yeah.
What? She's Juno.
No, she's not.
I swear she is.
No, Juno is Elliot Page.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm so off. Oh my god.
But I think this is the only thing I've ever seen Emily Perkins in. But Catherine Isabel, I've seen a few of her movies. I think this is her best performance. But putting, a cover on acting as a nitpick, there are nitpicky things, especially like with Trina. There are some with the guy that, what's his name? The one you didn't like?
What, Jason?
Yeah, Jason. There, you can say things about them. You can say things about the administration in the school building when it comes to acting. But
yeah.
Overall, a lot of this stuff falls in the good for me.
Also, I just realized she's not Juno. I forgot. She's just in Juno.
Okay.
She's in Juno. She's not Juno.
Oh, I've
herself.
seen Juno, so then
yeah,
but obviously, if I don't remember her being in that, it wasn't a very memorable role.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I just thought, like, because I had that exact same thought the other day when I looked it up on IMDb. I was like, Juno? Yeah. Don't tell me she's her. And then when I, like, tapped on it, I was like, oh, it's a supporting role. Okay. Yeah. But, of course, since then I've been on the road all day, so completely slipped my mind and just made an ass of myself.
Oh, you're good.
Good. The supporting acting, just kind of touching back on that and how you mentioned the administration, the counselor or like teacher, he seems like both. Yeah, I mean, he's in the classroom. The only
administrator in the building.
Yeah, it seems like, and how he's like in the classroom and everyone else is loving their project and he's like, I'm disgusted.
Yeah.
They're not made to please you, sir.
I need to see you guys separately. Like that was some of the writing. I was like, okay.
And then just the entire time creepy. Of how like he's so like invested in what they do the entire time. It was like, this is a school. Granted, this school looks like it has 30 kids, but like you can't just focus on these two. But you just can't stay on these two people. Yeah. Like, how about checking up on the other 28?
There is another teacher, the gym teacher.
Oh yeah, who just instigates the bullying the entire time? Who doesn't like do anything until somebody's already like drawing blood?
Yeah.
Oh god. But the meh also kind of, I mentioned it before, was I would say like the blood in the start of the movie, which I kind of pointed out, is that it's like, because of course they're doing their project, so there's fake blood. Yeah. But then in the scenes where we see actual blood, we know it's coming from somebody, from the beast. Yeah. It's still very light, where it's like almost water and just food coloring, and I was like, that's not selling me on it. Okay. But that's kind of a nitpick, man.
Yeah.
But of course it gets better drastically. Like you see that dark red.
Yeah, the blood looks really good down the stretch, especially in the final standoff.
Yeah, and in the school like scene as well when it's like covering the
walls and stuff,
and everything.
For sure. And when it's shooting out of the janitor's neck. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything for the bad?
For the bad? No.
All right, so we'll skip over it and we'll head to our final thoughts and ratings then. What do you want to leave off with Ginger Snaps here on National Gingersnap Day? And what do you give this movie out of 10?
So my final thoughts of it for like anyone who has seen the movie or hasn't, like we kind of said at the start, this is a good year-round horror movie in my opinion. If you haven't seen it, absolutely take the time after this. It's free on most platforms.
Yeah, it's free on Prime right now. It's free on
Tubi.
Tubi, yeah.
Which Tubi's like, if you didn't see, is like the #1 streaming service this year.
Yeah.
Because it has so much free stuff and great stuff, which includes...
with ads, yeah.
Yeah, which includes this and the franchise.
Yeah.
Which is all great.
Yeah, Prime has the entire franchise too, which I haven't seen the second and third one, so I have to dive into those ones. But
that's one part of my message is watch this movie. It's great. Mm-hmm. And that, honestly, if like they were kind of to wanting to do like, you know, how they reboot a horror movie... I would love to see a modern day remake of this movie. Okay. It would be amazing. It's kind of course, a sentimental movie. Yeah. But seeing how you love it as well and it's impacted you just goes to show that, like, it's a great, underrated gem and that people definitely need to see it.
For sure. What do you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, I'm going to give it, which you might be shocked by this, but I'll give it an 8.9 out of 10.
8.9. Okay. I love it. For me, I'm just going to go flat 8. I'm going to go flat 8.
Flat 8? Okay.
I'm like between an 8, 8.5 on it. I don't even think about the 7s. So that's good. I think it's a great movie. I think that, you know, it's a movie that definitely the ladies can... relate to a little more than us, but at the same time, I might not relate to it on that level. I think it's, you know, bloody fun. I think the story's really good. I think the practical effects are good, especially for 2000. Still holds up. Albeit some cheesy acting at times, I think our stars of this show do a great job, and it's a really good werewolf movie.
Absolutely.
And I love werewolves. Werewolf Fever Swamp was my favorite Goosebumps growing up.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, you can't beat it. It's a really good werewolf movie. And it's just a really good movie in general. I would say if you haven't seen it before, watching it for the first time in the fall does add a little element to it.
Yeah.
But now that I've seen it, I can attest to it being an anytime movie. I would just say that first watch being in the fall was...
It was like... icing on top. Yeah, it was great.
It was like I look outside and it's the same outside as it is on screen. I'm like, hell yeah.
The Beast of Alliance.
Oh my god. You just gave up our entire location. What? We're on. No, I'm kidding. But no, it is a great movie. You actually recommended this to me, so I'm glad you did because I was doing 31 Nights of Halloween last year and you're like, why don't you finally watch Ginger Snaps? I was like, why the hell not?
Yeah.
One of the nights was 4 creatures. I was like, sure, we'll throw it in there on... I think it was October 5th. I think it was my day 5. And after I watched it, I was like, damn, I should have watched this sooner.
Because, you know, I mean, since you've known me and since we've talked about movies, I have always talked about this movie.
Yeah.
I get backlash for it sometimes from other people, and I was like, watch it. Yeah. Have you seen it? Oh, no, you haven't? And you're talking back? Watch it. And then come back to me. Yeah. And then people who have, they're just like, I don't think it's that good. It's like, oh, so your taste is awful.
Yeah, me and our buddy that we said we won't name watched it together for 31 Nights of Halloween. And he has a very differing opinion. And it might be an acquired taste for some. But, so I don't fault him for it. I just think he's wrong. We still love him. He's still a homie. But
you're entitled to your wrong opinion.
Yeah, but no. No.
I'm gonna be honest with you. No.
Yeah. But no, personally, I do. I really enjoy this movie. I'll probably watch it again this year when fall rolls around, so I'll probably give it 2 watches this year. And, you know, I bought a shirt for it from Studio House Designs. A little plug for Studio House Designs that I'm not getting paid for, but I love their work. So there you go. Check out Studio House Designs if you like horror. They have awesome horror merch. But, yeah, it's a great recommendation from you, and hopefully this video encourages more people to watch it.
Go watch it.
Go watch it. That'll do it for Ginger Snaps, Mo. Thank you, brother, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Happy National Gingersnap to all of you. Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, please check out some of these other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. Any of it is appreciated. You just being here is appreciated. Again, we will talk to you all soon. Peace.